Welcome to the Inner Blueprint Podcast. I'm Sean Foyer, the Universal Mindset Disruptor. With over 20 years of turning blueprints into thriving home improvement businesses, I've learned that the strongest foundations start in your mind. Whether you're building a business or your own success, we're here to reshape how you think and face daily life and always remind you to enjoy the ride. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Inner Blueprint Podcast. The podcast where we talk all things mindset, hopefully helping people think better thoughts so they can get better results. My name is Sean Foyer, your co-host, here with the beautiful and amazing
Caitlin Foyer.
And how excited are you for today's guest?
Oh, I'm really excited. I just can't wait to hear his story. He's such a great example of living the inner blueprint. And so I'm just so excited for everyone to hear how he does that and how it's changed his life. So yeah.
Yes. And today's guest, I will say, he had to have really good mindset when we met him. Hopefully, by working with us for a little while now, we've improved that a little bit. But today's guest was born with special challenges, and you're going to hear a little bit about him today. But starting at about 6 years old, he started having surgeries that basically continued to affect his physical health and wellness up into his mid-20s. And when we first started working with him, he basically was on a feeding tube. Couldn't eat any solid food, and yet he was working full-time as a sales professional for Valley Roofing and Exteriors in Harrisonburg, Pennsylvania, or Virginia. Virginia. How did that come out? No, but he was an active sales professional, an active outdoorsman, cyclist, into sports, into everything, and literally couldn't eat physical food at the time we met him. And so,
crazy.
To say he is inspirational is an understatement. And, one of my favorite things about our work is we get to meet amazing people. And a lot of times we bring the amazing and the inspiration out of them with the work that we do. But today's guest, I'm so excited for you to hear because, he's got something special inside, and it's kind of what we're all looking for, that perseverance, that determination, that gratitude, that a lot of us, myself included, had to do some affirmation work to get. He's just got a natural knack for it. And I'm so excited to welcome to Inner Blueprint, Zachary Simmons. How's it going, man?
It's going good. Thanks. That was a long intro. I haven't heard one like that before, so I appreciate it, John.
Well, man, you're the type of guy that it's hard to find a few words because, as you've been part of our group, as you've been, I guess you would say working on your mindset, I know you've inspired myself and Caitlin very much, just with the way you show up and do life. So I'm so excited to have you on today and share your story, some of the unique challenges you've had, and how literally, you face every day like a brand new day, like it's full of opportunity, full of things to be grateful for. So excited to dive in.
Awesome. Me as well. This has really helped me on a personal front, but also on a work front too. So I let it do the work front first and then affected the work front so well, I took it to a personal side of things. So
I love that. I love
good.
that. Well, if you're okay, can we start a little bit on the personal side and talk about, some of the challenges you faced very early in life?
Yeah, as you know, I'm an open book, so you can't hide. The truth's going to come out eventually. So you got to.
Yeah. So tell us about your childhood and kind of some of the challenges you were basically born with, right?
I started with a kidney disease my whole life. So, but it didn't really I didn't really have it affect me until I was 6.
Okay.
It was probably when I had my first surgery. I may have had one younger than that, but that's the first one I remember. And just had some surgeries to fix some things, figure out biopsies, figure out medicines. And I was able to live life as a 6-year-old all the way till probably 18, 19 when I graduated high school.
Mm-hmm.
And was able, as long as I took my medicine, followed a diet, I was able to be active. I played 4 years of high school baseball. I played 4 years of high school tennis. I was able to do stuff. And then went to work and started in restaurants. Enjoyed that, enjoyed people. And then I got approached by a timeshare salesman. Never buy one of those. But so they taught me a lot about sales. And then I did that for like a year. And then on the health side of things, it was work was kind of like my distraction. It honestly kept me distracted of how crappy my health was. And I just didn't let it bother me. And I could have. And I probably sometimes Told myself I should have, but I didn't. I didn't want to sit on my butt and twiddle my thumbs all day and, for lack of a better word, collect disability. Like, I'm not that type of person.
Yeah.
No knock on anyone that does that, but that's just not me. And so I told the doctors, whatever you got to do, whatever medicines, whatever infusions, whatever stuff we got to do, let's do it. And they're like, okay, that's fine. And so I was living life, working 80 hours a week until I was about 26 at this point. And my one of my kidneys actually detached from my body.
Oh my God.
And so my numbers dipped real quick and they couldn't figure out why. So they did an MRI one day and they figured that out. So they're like, hey, it's time to put you on the transplant list. I'm like, okay, that's fine. And hindsight, I think it was my body telling me to slow down. But
Yeah.
so so I slowed down, and my sister was finishing pharmacy school and she got tested and she was a match, thank goodness. And so I got a kidney from her. So life started going good. I was like, okay, time to go back to work. Went back to work. And then I hit a rejection episode.
Oh.
And I was like, yay, this is fun. And I lost. So when I weighed in for surgery in 2021, it's 2021 at this point. And when I weighed in for surgery, I was 250 pounds.
Oh my God.
And so and that was in May of 21. And then by July, the middle of July of that year, I was 170 pounds. I lost 80 pounds in like a 2.5 week frame
Holy
because I
cow.
just couldn't keep anything down. I was always sick. They couldn't figure it out. And my numbers were the worst they've ever been. I even had like, so when you first get a transplant, you have an on-call nurse that you can call at any time and they've got to answer within an hour. And so I called her. I was like sick, just throwing up. And she's like, it's okay. You're probably just fighting the flu. I'm like, okay. Like, I'm not going to question my nurse. Sure. Just fighting the flu, whatever. And that went on for about a week and I was at home. And I finally, on a Sunday morning, I woke up and I was like, something's wrong with me. Something's not right. So I went to the hospital. They did some tests and stuff. And my numbers were the worst they've ever been. Never been this bad in my whole entire life. The nurse felt so bad, she quit. Like, she felt so bad. And she sent me a nice email, and I was like, hey, it's okay. Mistakes happen. You just thought I was getting a bug. It's okay. And so went to the hospital for 3 months, and that's where I lost those 80 pounds in those 2.5 weeks. Test after test after test. They couldn't figure it out. And like, I felt okay. I just couldn't keep anything down. And it was funny how it works. My poor mother, she would come over every single day to the hospital and walk around the hospital with me after working an 8+ hour shift. And we would walk around and I'd have IV tubes and all the stuff to keep me healthy. And we would just walk around the hospital. And the doctor that actually did my transplant stopped me one day. He's like, hey, I've noticed you've been walking for the last like 2 months. Can I ask what's wrong with you? And obviously I'm 80 pounds lighter at this point. So he had no idea who I was. And I was like, you were actually my doctor that did the transplant. And he's like, really? And then I shared in my name. He's like, oh, yeah, I remember you. How you doing? I was like, I'm doing okay. I just can't eat right now and can't figure it out why. He's like, hey, I just got done working a 36-hour shift. Let me go home, go to sleep, and I'll try to get you an answer. I said, cool, thank you. And so I go back to my room. It's and then start to go to bed, and I get woke up by my nurse around midnight. She's like, "Hey, no more water." She took my water away. And anyone that's had surgery before, you know what that means. It means you're having an operation the next day. Caitlin's shaking her head
Yep.
because she probably just recently had these rolls.
Yes.
But so I was like, "What am I having done?" I was like, because they never told me nothing. And they're like, "Oh, your doctor actually, instead of going home, he came back into the office and found a plan." And so we had a plan of putting in the tube, and so that worked. And then I lived off that for 2.5, 3 years, somewhere in there, and couldn't eat, but I was able to live,
So
and that was my biggest thing.
so
I didn't care.
so from that
Go
point though,
ahead.
they inserted a feeding tube, right? That's the only way you
Yeah.
could keep nutrients in your body for
Mhm.
2 to 3 years. And one other thing too, and I love, this is just how you are. You basically skipped over the fact in high school when you played all those sports, what was happening with your legs? Because you've shared with me before.
Oh my.
Yeah. What?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So my legs, when I would grow through middle and high school, my legs would grow in. They started growing in.
Okay.
And so my doctor every 6 months would correct them. And then they'd grow out. And then they'd go back in after he corrected them. So for like every 6 months from about sixth grade to senior year of high school, he would break my legs in half and reset them
Every six
because there was
months.
no
Every six
every
months.
6 months.
Yeah.
My nickname in high school was Hobbles. That was my nickname.
And again,
I went with
I'm
it.
just going back though, because you didn't even mention that as part of this story.
Yeah,
And you talked about all the
I
sports you
didn't.
played in high school. But again, you guys, just as you're listening to this, the inspiration, I mean, yeah, doesn't even mention that he was having his legs broken every 6 months, all through middle school and high school.
Well, and if you can't tell by now, if you're listening, Zach just really embodies someone who really takes no excuses, right? Like most people would say, oh, I have kidney disease. It means I can't play the sports I want. Or, oh, I'm getting my legs broke every 6 months, so I can't play baseball and tennis. Like people would be like, nope, I'm done. I can't. Like, obviously my body's not going to let me. And you just were like, no, yeah, that happened, but it didn't stop me. Like you are just the total embodiment of someone that refuses to take excuses and refuses to let the physical world determine your happiness and your growth and your grit and your determination. It is so inspiring even to this point, and we're like not even halfway through. Like this is crazy.
Yeah. I was actually listening to one of your podcasts, and the thing that stuck out to me, and it helps me, is you got to be okay with change. And
Yes.
with a life of a lot of health issues, change is going to happen a lot. So, and that's one thing that a lot of people aren't comfortable with because they tell themselves up here, oh, I don't like change. No, change is what makes you better. Change is what makes you who you are. Yeah, at the end of the day, none of us like it, but it's what makes you you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
It's
Well,
the only constant, right? Change is the only constant thing in life.
and I think,
yeah.
and I know people that have had way less challenge than you, Zach, myself included at points in my life. And we don't have this attitude. And we talk about it a lot on this podcast, but the life is happening for you, not to you. And every step of the way, I don't hear, you questioning why are you saying this is happening to you. It's just like you are moving forward.
Regardless. He's moving forward
So let's go back.
regardless.
So you can't eat. They finally figure out they'll put a feeding tube, and you had that tube for 3 years. Is that right?
Yeah.
And you
Yeah,
didn't
just
just
about.
lay in bed while you had that. Like that is what is so crazy.
No.
You
Yeah.
did not just lay around doing nothing while you had that.
Well, and
I could have, but no, that's no fun.
well, tell them a little bit, because I know you've shared with me, before in past conversations, what was the process for you to go to sleep at night and to feed yourself with a tube during those couple
So
of years?
I would get home whenever I got off work, and I would have to hook up to the tube by at least 10 o'clock. Like I could do stuff with it. Like if my mom was like, "Hey, let's have dinner," I would hook up before, or obviously she would have dinner. I'd come hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
uh, she's like, "Hey, come over." I'm like, "Okay." Well, I would hook up to my tube then and just take it over there. I wouldn't go out in public with it, but I would have to hook up to it for at least 8 hours in the evening. And I normally did it while I was asleep,
And
9 times out of 10.
and you had to take a sleeping pill to sleep because it was pretty uncomfortable.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty uncomfortable, and so we were able to get a sleeping pill that would work with all the other medicines and wouldn't make those not work, and it would literally put me to sleep for 6 to 7 hours on the money. Like it was great. It took a while to get there, but it was different for sure. Like I don't take no sleeping pills now, and I'm able to eat, and I'm like, oh, this sleep is phenomenal. Like sleep now feels like triple time compared to what I had before. So
Yeah. So during the 2 to 3 years when you're on the feeding tube, so every night, 8 hours, take a sleeping pill to sleep. You wake up. What does your days look like? What would you do during a day? And you don't eat at all during the day, right? During this time, you could only do the feeding
no,
tube at night. So no
only the
substance
feeding
during
tube
the
at
day.
night.
Yeah. So what does the day look like during this time period?
I would wake up and I would pretty much be full. So like after you got like a normal person eats a meal, you're full, you kind of feel it, right?
Yeah.
When I woke up, that's what I felt because I had just ate, technically. I just ate. So it was kind of weird. Well, because most people, when they wake up, they're really hungry or really thirsty, right?
Yeah.
Like, what's the first thing most people do in the middle of the night or when they first wake up? They drink some water.
Yeah.
Not me. I would wake up, probably go 3, 4 hours until I took a sip of whatever. But to kind of get me through the day, I would drink a little bit of water here and there, and then I'd have a Dr. Pepper 2 or 3 times a day.
Yeah.
Like if it wasn't for Dr. Pepper, and no offense to the other soda distributors, I would not be able to work and do as much as I did because that gave me the energy. That was my food during the day. Like to be dead honest with you, like when you needed some energy, you would eat, let's just say a candy bar for lack of a better example.
Yeah.
I would drink a soda real quick and it'd give me a boost.
Wow. So what did you do in a day then? You wake up full. What does a day look like?
I would wake up, go to work, take a quick walk in the morning if I woke up early enough, or if I didn't have too much planned, work 6 to 8 hours a day, sometimes longer, go home, go for a bike ride, go for another walk. Bike ride with the feeding tube wasn't the funnest thing in the world, so I didn't do it as often as I do now. Um, but go for a bike ride, go for a walk. I refuse to let anything stop me my whole life up to that point, and I don't. Excuses are for babies. No offense to people that make excuses, they're for babies, and it all goes with up here. If you tell yourself you can, and you tell yourself you're gonna do it. You may not know how you're gonna do it, but at the end of the day, you're gonna get there, and that's just what I told myself every single day. And I will say this, like, yeah, my story is pretty deep. Yeah, it's pretty crappy if you actually think about it. But there's people out there that I've seen and that I know that it's way worse. Like there's a guy in the hospital that's still there from the day that I started from the kidney transplant. And I went this past weekend, actually, and he was still there in the hospital.
Wow.
So, yeah, mine sounds bad, but that's motivation. And also the motivation of hearing people like yourselves and other people say, hey, it's powerful. You help me. In return, me helping you helps me because if I get down on myself, I know, oh, it may not help somebody. In return, I'm like, okay, I better stay positive. I better keep going because it's helping whoever. And so in return, me helping you helps me.
I love that. Zach, how long were your bike rides you were going after working 8 or 10 hours in a day?
Uh, Anywhere from 50 to 60 miles most days, sometimes longer, on the weekends longer.
We just want to clarify
Yeah, for
that because a lot of
listeners-
people are like, oh, a bike ride
Yeah.
like around the neighborhood.
I mean,
no.
you're on a feeding tube. You just worked all day. All you've had is a couple Dr. Peppers. Most people are thinking, oh, he went for a bike ride. He probably went around the neighborhood. No, he took off on a 50-mile
no.
ride, you guys.
No.
That's it.
No, a lot of flat where I live, but
But 50 miles is 50 miles.
a decent ride. If you don't get on a bike for more than 40 miles, there's no point to get on.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. So you said, after 2 to 3 years on the feeding tube, what happened recently to change that?
So I had a few surgeries from when I had the feeding tube to where I'm at now. I had a few that we would try and nothing really worked. And then so that one doctor that moved from UCLA in California to University of Virginia Hospital in Charlottesville, which is about an hour from where I'm at. And he's like, hey, I have something that may work. You down to try? I'm down to try anything.
Yeah.
So obviously, so I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. It's not gonna make me worse, is it? He was like, no. I was like, sure. So what he did is they cut me from about my neck down to my hip, down my chest, and built me a whole new digestive tract system.
Wow.
So the best way to explain it is so when the average person, when they take a sip of water like this, it takes about 5 seconds for the water to go from here to the hip bone. For me, and this was scary the first time because they forgot to tell me how quick it goes. So I wake up from surgery in December, the beginning of December, about 6 months ago, and I was thirsty. I was under the knife for like 15 hours, and I was thirsty. So I looked at the nurse and I was like, "Hey, can I have a drink?" And she's like, "Yeah, but I gotta help you, no straw." And I'm all tapped in the wires and all this stuff, and she comes over and hands me the drink, and she helps me tip it, and I kind of jump and look at her, and she's like, "It's okay, it's normal." So like for you guys, an average person takes about 5 seconds for the water to go. Me, it's instant.
Oh my God.
So at first it was really weird. And she's like, it's okay, it's supposed to feel that way. And so you had to get adjusted to it. But about 6 weeks of a very, very strict diet, and now since then, just no sugars. Just stay away from sugar, and I'm good.
So no more feeding
Sugar's
tube.
bad for you anyways, people. So
Right?
Yes,
no
Well,
sugar
more
is
feeding
stuff.
tube.
if there's no
So
sugar, can you still have Dr. Pepper?
nope, no Dr.
No
Pepper.
more
I haven't
Dr.
had a soda
Pepper.
in about 6.5 months.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, if
More,
Zach can
more
do no
change,
sugar, I
more
can do no
change.
sugar. This
So
is great.
So you've spent a majority of your life from broken legs to stomach problems to a feeding tube.
To a whole new digestive tract. It's like crazy.
So now you wake up and you can eat, you can live like a regular person, as you would say, right? What has that been like
yeah,
for the mindset to have all this struggle and to wake up?
it
It's kind
was
of,
it was weird it was weird at first. Like after 3 years or even more than that of dealing with something, it was weird at first. I was like I called you back in January, and I was like, Sean, what do I want? Like used to be just a life of okay, live another day, live another day. Not that I planned on or was like deathly ill, but it's just get by, just get by, just get by. Now I'm on the other side. I'm like, what do I really want?
well, that's,
And I really had to sit down and think about it
Well,
because before it was just like, get by and go.
and I love what you said towards the beginning of the episode. You said, I dove into the work when you started working with us. I dove into the work first because that seemed easier. And then you mentioned too that you used work as a distraction from your health and things like that. So when you started our program, you really applied it to your work. And now you're at this point where you're like, hold on, I have to apply it to my personal life now too. Like I
Yeah.
really have to dig deep. There is no more distraction. Like this is who I am now. Like this is
Yeah.
me. This is all I've wanted my whole life. Now what?
Yeah. And that's pretty much what I told myself. It was very weird at first. I was like, this and I'm 30 years old. Maybe I shouldn't feel that way, but I'm like, I've never been able to tell myself, what do I want? And
oh,
now I can truly ask myself, what do I want? And I've tried some things and I'm getting there. So, and this is one of them. Like I've never been on a podcast, so
But
well,
I
maybe
know
you
that
may try some more different things.
I do know that when you drive in your car, you act as a podcast host or a sports broadcaster, right? So you've been
Yeah.
putting it out there into the universe, and now here we are, which is awesome.
Yeah, I'll listen to a sports podcast driving down the road or something, and I will pretend to be a commentator. People probably see me driving down the road thinking I'm talking to myself, and I don't really care.
So all of this is going on. You've been in sales for 11 years, and so you've never let any of this stand in your way. And it's impressive to me because, and I want to go back to like how you started in our program, what made you want to, why you're still in it. But it's really impressive because it's not like you're the bottom sales guy on your sales team. In fact, it's the opposite, which is actually crazy too
Yeah.
when we think about you handle just the gutter, right? Or aren't you?
I handle majority gutters, but every now and again, for people that work in construction type sales, you know this, they may call thinking it's the gutter and it's not.
Yeah.
And you get out there and figure out what it is and then take care of it. But I'd say, and you guys know me, I'm a number nerd, probably 80-90% of the jobs I get are gutter related.
Yeah, which is so impressive to be sitting where you're sitting as far as ranking on your sales team and to be quote unquote like just the gutter guy, right? Like that so
Yeah.
many people would take like, oh, I'm not getting, if they're doing the full exterior, I'm not getting good enough leads or I'm not getting this, I'm not getting that. Like that's why my numbers suck. And you're like, I'm going to get what I can and I'm going to make the best of it. I'm going to show you all up. That is what I love about you is it is so impressive because you would never guess meeting you like how successful you are because you think, oh my gosh, he's been through so much. He goes through so much. He's like, how does he do this? And it's just another thing where again, like Zach, you should have shirts made that say like no excuses, because you really, you don't allow excuses to determine your physical outcome ever. And it's so impressive to me.
Yeah. Excuses just, it makes your brain, If you think of an excuse, it makes your brain think of why you can't do it, and that's what you're going to tell yourself every single day. Is if you make an excuse, okay, I can't do this.
Yep.
And if you tell yourself, my one of my old bosses used to say, if you tell yourself you can, you can, but you're also correct if you tell yourself you can't, you won't. You're correct on both sides of the spectrum.
Yep.
100%. That actually comes from a Henry Ford quote back in the day. That's one of my favorite quotes. Is it is the power of decision. You decide you're going to do it, you're going to do it. You tell yourself a reason you won't, and you won't. And every step of this way, you guys, in Zach's story, he's faced challenge after challenge, and all he said is, "What am I going to do next? What am I going to do next?" And I do love like the presence of going from, you started working with us, and our first module is, what do you want? And you focused that on work. And I know at some level you were focused on, I just want to be healthy. I just want to be healthy. And sure enough, in a short time while working with us, you get this surgery, and now you get what you asked for. And now you're starting all over. Like a lot of people do in our program without health challenges, they get to this point and it's like, I've been working so hard, but I don't really know what I want or why I'm doing it.
Yeah. And what you just said there, Sean, I just want to be healthy. You didn't know how. You didn't know that this surgeon from UCLA was going to move to your local hospital and have this groundbreaking surgery to do for you. Like, you didn't know any of the how. You just were like, I want to make it through another day. I want to be healthy. And that is, I think, what is so amazing about mindset and decision is when you let go of the how, magical things happen. Like, and you're a living example of it over and over and over again, but especially in that is really remarkable.
Yes. And we need to show this. There's no excuses on the front and the inner blueprint on the back, because you're a walking testament to the inner blueprint program.
Yeah, it's all in what you tell yourself. Like, there's people, my friends are like, why do you work? Okay, why not? Why are you always so positive? Why not? Like, if you really dwell on the negative, it's gonna make a negative result or make you negative. But yeah, if you really want to sit down and think about it, yeah, it sucks. Of course, anyone's gonna admit that to you, that something in their life stinks.
Yes.
But if you tell yourself, hey, life is great, I'm gonna keep kicking butt and keep going, that's what you're gonna do. Like, negative things happen to everybody. Like, anyone can admit that. But it's what you do with that negative thing to allow the action to take place. If you let that negative eat you, a negative action is going to be at your end result, right? But if you allow that negative and be like, okay, it's okay, I'm going to keep going, then you're going to get the action that you really deserve at the end of the day.
Yeah, I'm a person like you where I thrive off like that negative reinforcement. I thrive off of it. I don't let it determine who I am. I like use it to prove everyone wrong and prove myself wrong. Like, someone tells me I can't do anything, I like, even if I didn't want to do it, now I have to do it. I have to prove them wrong. I have to show them 25 ways I can. And I think that's exactly how you are, which I love, because I'm sure you even had, you had probably family members, friends, doctors along the way telling you, like, Zach, like, no, you can't do that. You need to be a little more realistic, or you need to slow down, or whatever it is. And you're like,
Yeah.
I think I'll just do what I want. How about that?
Yeah. And at the end of the day, I got the result I wanted. I'm healthy. I'm able to work full time. I do a lot of extracurricular stuff. Like, I'm able to be a productive human member of society.
Well, and that's the thing, is you're one of the most productive people I know. Like, you give everyone a run for their money as far as your daily routine and what you do. It's not like you're just like, well, I have this thing, so, I work the bare minimum, and like, when I have time, I do what I want. You are so committed to doing what you want, when you want, for as long as you want, that it really is inspirational. I mean, to you, what your normal day is what other people look at, including myself, and think, dear God, how does he do that all in one day? From like how much you ride your bike to the time that you spend, you volunteer and help with, is it baseball games?
Baseball, yes.
Baseball, and you're so involved in your community, and you go the extra mile with every one of your leads. Like, if I love the story. You're like, this guy needed help. I just went over and I was like, yeah, I'll just do it for him. Like, other people would be like, I'm too busy, or I have this going on, but you just don't let opportunities pass you by. You're always searching for them. And it is really, really, it should be really inspiring for anyone that listens to this. Is you should realize you're always capable of doing more. And if you don't believe that, like listen to Zach's story because he's living proof that you are always capable of doing more than the thoughts in your mind are telling you.
It goes back to what Sean says at the beginning of every call we do on Tuesdays. How's it get better?
It just does, man. It just does.
It just does.
Only
It just keeps going.
one thing, Zach, I want you to talk on for just a minute. To me, I've always approached sales as service, right? If I can serve a client, whether they become a customer or not, that's part of the sales process. But you do have a servant heart. And Kayla mentioned you spend a lot of time donating to your community, to your church. And you've been doing that for a while as well, right? On top of riding 50 miles, working all day. What does your service look like? And what's your attitude on serving others?
If you serve others and serve not just at a church type of event or helping a customer out here or there, or helping a neighbor out or helping a friend out here and there, you're gonna reap what you sow.
Mhm.
So if you serve others, others are gonna help you when you need it, or others are gonna help motivate you when you're down. So I look at it for an example. So like during the whole health process, I needed to switch houses because the two guys I was living with at the time had dogs and I couldn't live around dogs. And so I was in the hospital when we were supposed to move and I was sick. I was like, who's going to move all my crap? I wake up the next day, it's moved for me. Someone took care of it.
Wow.
And I didn't call nobody. They just were were talking and it happened. Like I didn't set none of it up. It just happened. And I look at it at the end of it's because in the same exact realm, I would have done it for that person
Yeah.
if it would have been flipped.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the if you serve and you do things for the community for other people, it's going to come back to you tenfold every single time.
Yeah.
You give what you get.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And I think too is as long as you're willing to receive, right? Because so many people think they need to just give, and they block off the option to ever receive. And I think probably through your life and your health challenges, you were forced to receive, right? But that has been such an important thing for you and your growth, and of not just I just need to give and empty, my bucket. It's more of like I'm willing to do all of this for other people because I know that I'm willing and worthy to receive it back at some level.
Hmm.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, you got to be able to receive it to be able to give it too. Because if you're not able to receive it, there's no point in giving it.
Totally.
Because then you don't really want to give it. You're just doing it to do it.
Yes, that
Like
is.
I give because I enjoy it, not because I have to, not because I want to, because I actually thoroughly enjoy doing whatever I do.
Yeah.
Like baseball, for example, it's 4 to 5 hours in the evening, but I enjoy every single second, even on the cold days.
So you have always been a positive person. You've always been someone that has not let anything weigh you down. What got you interested in working with us, and why do you still work with us? Because I think a lot of people would listen to this and be like, he doesn't need mindset. He doesn't need a mastermind. Like this guy's got it figured out. But you will be in between leads, or you will be, in the middle of something else, and you do not miss the weekly calls. You do not miss a chance to respond to someone in a group chat. You reach out to others. Like you are so involved and active in it. And so I mean, if you could just walk it through, like what got you interested and what keeps you going in it, and what are your biggest takeaways of working with us in the Inner Blueprint?
So Anson or Joe, I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it was Anson. Our owner, he reached out to me when I was probably 2 months in at the time of working here. He's like, "Hey, you're a positive person." Like they already knew my whole backstory. They're like, "Hey, you're a positive person, but I want you to try this out." I'm like, "Okay, what is it?" And he's like, "It's a 12-week course. It has to do about mindset. I know you have a good one, but just try it out." I said, "Okay, sure, whatever." So tried it out, and I was like, "Ooh, this works." I thought I was positive to begin with, and now I'm telling myself every day, and I listen, and I've told you all this before. I live 8 minutes from the office. Do I have to come to the office every morning to start my day? No, I can leave my house and go to the first customer's house and be totally okay. But at the end of my day, I go back to the office on purpose, drop off my laptop, all my stuff, right? Drop it off, and then go home. I do that so I can listen to Sean every morning for 8 minutes and then do my affirmations before I get out of the truck. That way I can do it. And it makes me do it because I'm like, well, I got an 8 minute drive to work. Might as well listen to Sean. And it makes you do it, and it makes you take the time for yourself. And I was a positive outlooker, but now I'm actually taking time for me and
Mm.
not just living life positively. I'm actually taking time, the hour every Tuesday, 30 minutes to an hour on Fridays for the extra calls, and spending time on me to better myself. I have it blocked off. I don't see nobody. Yeah, it may add for a longer Wednesday or a longer Thursday because I have to block off an hour on a Tuesday, but it's okay because it betters myself. And if you take that time to really better yourself, whether it's on a work front or a personal front, you're going to get better results. And you're going to go at a conversation with a customer or a conversation with a client with a very, very sharp knife and to be able to dissect it the way you want to if you take the time for yourself. But if you're just go, 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 and spend no time for you or no time for this, especially,
Yes.
the mindset of it is you're not going to get the results you want because you're not fresh. You're not sharpened. You're not ready. You may think you are. You may tell yourself you are, but you're really not at the end of the day.
Yeah, you're just tired at the end of the day because all you did was just go, go, go. You weren't intentional about filling your bucket and making sure that you were at your best to be able to serve others the best and be able to go about your day the best. I love that.
Yes. I guess one last thing from listening to us, and I know you had some practice before, but how important is gratitude, Zach?
Very important. You gotta have gratitude to be able to get more, in my opinion. If you don't have gratitude of what you're thankful for, you're not gonna get more. Like, and I look at it from a life's prospect. If you're not thankful for the life that you have, your life's never gonna get better.
Yeah.
If you're not thankful for the job that you have, no matter if it's crap, my job's not by any means crappy, but if you're not thankful for the crappy job you may have, it's not gonna get better. It's not. It's just not. It's the problem is people dwell on the crap, people dwell on the bad and the unsuccessful, whatever. You're meant to fail. You look at it, I'm a big sports nut. You look at it in a sports realm, right? Baseball season. So that's where I'm gonna go. If you're hitting one out of every three, that's a 33 batting average, right?
Mm-hmm.
The average batting average is below three in the major leagues.
Wow.
So you're pretty dang good if you're getting below that. And I look at it from a, if you, people want to be 100%, 100%, 100%. These pros in all these other sports, 50% or better, 30 to 50% is good.
Yeah.
And people get so down on the nose. Yeah, it sucks at the end of the day. It's not fun. Yeah, I may have wasted an hour to 2 hours of my day, but what did I do that I can make myself better for the next one?
Yes.
And it's crazy when you think about it from a sales point.
Yes.
To your, just listen to what could have gone better. If you actually sit down and have a genuine conversation with your customer of the person who's in front of you and focus on that and don't let the negativity of the one before that affect you, you can get so much out of it. It's people get so focused on, okay, I better get this one. I better get this one. Focus on the one you got. Be thankful for the one that you have, not the one that you didn't get before.
Yes.
And if you're thankful, it's going to lead in, and it's crazy on the sales front. Like if you just have a conversation with a person, it's funny y'all said just gutters. I turned a gutter cleaning that's normally $300 to $400. Was talking to a lady, she lived at a resort up here in the mountains, and I was like, "Hey, your gutter cleaning, it's not going to be cheap because I have to bring a lift up here." And anyone that works in this field knows lifts aren't cheap. And she's like, "Okay, well, let me know what new gutters would be since you're gonna go ahead and do that." I said, "Okay." Went back inside, started talking about what new gutters would be. It was a massive duplex at this nice ski resort. And we were chatting even before I even opened the proposal for a $30,000 gutter job at this point. Before I even opened it, I saw a deck board sitting on the dining room table that we were sitting at. I said, "Hey, are you looking to get a new deck?" Her deck was okay. And I was like, "You looking to get new deck boards?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm looking to get a new deck board, adding a porch roof on the back of the house. But all these contractors are leaving me alone once they come up here." Well, it was on the side of a cliff. So not every contractor is going to go after that. And I was like, "Hey, we do decks, blah, 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 blah." Next led to another conversation. I go back the next day with a $180,000 project. She signs on the spot. All because of a conversation. But I could have dwelled, "Oh, it's another gutter cleaning. We're only going to sell it for $300. No, if you focus on the person, you can turn that 300 into 180 like that.
Yes, that should be the theme of this episode. Actually, as we get to the end here, $300 to $180,000. The difference, your mindset. What you looking for the bad or you looking for the good? And you went in there with a servant's heart and did your job. And wow, I love it, man.
Yeah, I love it. And I love how you brought, baseball batting averages into sales averages because, Sean, what's the average sales closing rate for our industry?
I mean, anywhere from 30 to 40%, depending on the company and the price. And it's like a batting average. It's 1 out of 3.
And Zach, what's yours?
62
Exactly.
as of Friday.
Exactly.
Yeah, we should probably have been focusing on that. Besides overcoming all these health challenges, he maintains a 60% close rate on his work.
Which in our industry is like unheard of, right? Like that's like, you're like the Michael Jordan of sales in our industry. And nobody would ever know that because you're humble, you serve, you're kind, you are so involved in all these other things as well. It's just who you are. And I think that it is so inspirational. I think that anybody that's in any sales profession, which I think everybody is in sales at some level or another, should listen to this episode and be like, damn, I can do so much better than I'm currently doing. Like, you are such a beacon, like you are a lighthouse, Zach, truly you are, to our industry and just to people in general for everything that you just, who you are.
And any final words? Any final words for listeners, Zach, before we wrap up this episode? 'Cause this has been great.
Don't live excuses. Live one day at a time, and just be a light. Like, yeah, you can be negative, but just go live life and get what you want to get out of it. And if you want to get more, you're gonna get more. If you don't want more, guess what? You're not gonna get it.
Yes.
So shoot for the stars, and you'll get it.
I love it. And I'm going to translate it into my word speak here. Basically, Zach's saying, wake up every day and enjoy the ride. Thank you for being on. Thank you for letting us share part of your amazing, inspirational story. Listeners, if you like this episode, please give us a like, subscribe. And if you know somebody that needs some inspiration, please share this episode. And as always, thank you for listening. Welcome to the Inner Blueprint Podcast. I'm Sean Foyer, the Universal Mindset Disruptor. With over 20 years of turning blueprints into thriving home improvement businesses, I've learned that the strongest foundations start in your mind. Whether you're building a business or your own success, we're here to reshape how you think and face daily life and always remind you to enjoy the ride.